Hey folks, today I'm really excited to show you my League starter. This is the secret weapon that I've been planning. It is a Frostclaw Sorc, but it's not going to be exactly what you think. It's going to be a bit of a different flavor. So I'm going to explain how it works, and basically the entire build revolves around this node in the Sorcerer tree, the Arcane Current, Spark Charge, Chance with 40 mana cost skill, 100%. So what that actually means is that every hit that you do with Frostclaw, you get a Spark Charge, and it has been confirmed in the Ask Dev and the official Discord that the recasts of Frostclaw do count for this as well. And it seems like the shotgunning from Volley of Glass should also do it as well. And I've previously tested how many hits you can actually get with Frostclaw in a single cast, so I'll show you that real quick here. So this is what it looks like. So keep in mind, I am using, for testing, a weapon with exactly 100% shred. I have nothing else hitting the boss except Frostclaw, so every stack of shred you see on the shade represents one hit from Frostclaw. So it's important that you aim at least 3 meters away for the maximum damage. This is the boss one-shot tech that you can do. And notice how many hits we get when we do this. So immediately, we already have 5 hits on the boss before the bounce from Frostclaw has even come back and hit the boss. And then you can see here, when we targeted off to the left of the boss here, the Frozen Malice auto-targeting, because it's more than 3 meters away, will bounce back to the boss and hit through the boss. And the additional bounce node that always goes back towards you anyway will also bounce back towards the boss and go through it. And you can see here, with a single cast of Frostclaw, we managed to get 25 hits on the shade. Now that's 25 spark charges per cast of Frostclaw. And if that doesn't sound crazy, keep in mind the Enigma gives +2 flat lightning per int, and if you have 150 int, you're looking at 300 flat lightning damage per spark charge times 25. And then you can cast it quite a few times per second before you dump your mana. You're going to be mana stacking. And the base damage of that per Frostclaw is going to be somewhere around like 10,000 flat base damage or something like that, which is completely absurd. It's before any multipliers, increased damage, more multipliers, crit multi, any of that stuff. This is all going to be multiplying that into absurd numbers. And then we can probably also run Ladle as well with the setup to get another more multiplier in all of our elements and stuff like Shred and whatever that you want, Frailty, all that. So that should be amazing for single target. I have theory crafted out the mana cost with my mana cost calculator updated for 1.1. So you can see here, if you're using a ladle, so a -3 wand, you can use one node in Gift of Winter, and then you take everything else that adds mana, and you'll be exactly 41.8 mana per Frostclaw cast. If you're using the Dragorath Claw, which I think is a viable alternate, you can run a, so we'll do 0 here, and then you can run 2 Gift of Winter, and you'll still be above 40 mana. Anyway, over to the build. So the idea is you're applying as many spark charges as possible. That's how it works. And for bossing, it's obvious why this is good. You just need to do that tech I showed you. You click away from the boss, it bounces through, and you should be doing an absurd amount of damage. And for the Echo Clear, what's actually really cool is you can just sort of run through the map. I haven't prioritized cast speed on this build, and instead of spamming your Frostclaw into a group of enemies, you're just going to click once, and then all the hits onto the pack of enemies, they're all going to apply these spark charges. And then because the spark charges have their own little AoE explosion that is made larger by Fragment of the Enigma, one click from your Frostclaw into a pack of enemies should cause the whole pack to detonate, ideally. And any rare monster that's there is probably what you're going to be targeting. It should also die pretty quickly too. So the Spark Charge itself has 20 base damage. It's pretty low. Fragment of the Enigma skills, you get the +2 per int, and you also get 100% damage effectiveness. So early on, when you first transition into this build, you probably want something that gives quite a bit of base damage. So until you have Enigma, Ladle will not be a good idea. You could even use a staff or something like that that's adding a bunch of base damage, and that will help you quite a bit early on to apply some of that damage with the Frostclaw. So I do believe that you should be able to switch into this build around mid-level 50s to 60s. Ideally, you would be higher, but that is the earliest possible point. So I have also included some leveling here for you guys, and this is the Dreadful Volcanic Orb leveling setup. So I'll link to this video here. It's really good. I just tested it out yesterday for leveling, and this will be a really good way to first level your character and then transition into this Frostclaw build. You can also level with Glacier if you want, if you feel more comfortable with that. Both of them will be totally fine. And I've taken that planner that Dreadful has, and I've even added the skill progression for you. So yeah, you can just follow along the skill progression that goes all the way up into 64 points, which is enough points that you can do your respec into the final build. So here it is. So you're just going to switch to this planner that will also be in the description. This is the transition because you need these nodes in the tree. So start here at 64 points. This is what you're going to want. And then from there, you can continue following the passive tree progression all the way to level 100. So pretty good stuff. I also have a alternate setup. So this is the one with Ladle. I have another setup. This is the one with Dragorath Claw, which I think is going to be another option. So here the only difference is you're taking Lightning Blast. Lightning Blast will detonate your spark charges immediately. I think this will be a very high quality of life for a build that revolves around spark charging as much as possible. Getting that damage more immediately, I think will be nice. It'll be a little bit harder to sustain mana, but it should still be fine, and you'll get those explosions much quicker, which means enemies will have less time to actually hurt you. So I think this will be more defensive. You probably will want frailty from somewhere because the Dragorath Claw does not have frailty like Ladle does, but it also does have some resist and some spell crit, which is nice. Normally the downside of Dragorath Claw is that you don't have cast speed, but with this build, because you're just casting big nukes of Frostclaw every few seconds instead of spamming it like the other build, that's not actually a downside. Having more crit multi is totally fine, not a big deal. And same here, I've prioritized crit multi on everything instead of cast speed, so we have quite a bit of crit multi. Spell crit is still important, but in general, you don't need to worry as much about cast speed, so that helps a lot for making this build work. So the main thing that you want to prioritize is intelligence, because Fragment of the Enigma gives +2 lightning damage for spark charge per intelligence. This is a crazy amount of your damage, probably the majority of it. It's very important that you get as much int as possible on your gear and in the passive trees. So you can see here we have int on pretty much everything we can. Obviously, some of this gear is pretty extreme as far as endgame. You probably won't have red rings. You can use the Pharaoh's set ring, which gives a bunch of int. You can use an exalted ring. The main thing is that you want int on every gear piece possible. So if you can't get a legendary that has int, you want an exalt with as high int as you possibly can. The same with rings. If you can't get it on a legendary, like red ring, you want to get it on exalts or set ring or anything. Same with gloves, same with boots. For the relic, Twisted Heart is definitely not mandatory for this build, probably not even that good. The Lagon relic that drops might be good here, it gives a bunch of mana, so we are trying to stack mana. That might be useful. There's a few other different relics that might be good. If you are trying to go for the conversion, so if you want to run, for example, the reactive ward tech here, you can use the Twisted Heart to proc reactive ward. So if you want to run this for a bit more defense, you can do that. And then the Twisted Heart will proc that and give you a bunch of extra ward. Using it for the leech conversion tech is probably not that great for this build because we're not going to be casting quite as much as a more cast speed focused build. So you can try it if you want. I don't think it's going to be that great, but there is a lot of liberty for what you want to put in your relic slot. Same with the amulet. You probably want mana and crit multiplier. Getting the mana on the legendary is not actually that important. Most of this stuff in general is not that important. It's just you need to get a lot of int. You probably want crit multi. You probably want mana spent gained as ward. This is going to be good. You want cooldown for your teleport meteor tech to get the mana back. And you probably want a little bit of crit chance for lightning skills, either on idols or gear or both. And that's pretty much it for the gear. And that's pretty much it for the gear. As for mana, actually sustaining mana, I don't think it's going to be too much of a problem. We do have in the Sorc tree a bit of a refund here. This is going to give you quite a bit back. We are stacking mana. And otherwise, I am also using the Meteor refund tech. So if you're not aware of how this works, Meteor itself has 48% refund, which does stack with the 20% in the Sorc tree. So you're going to get almost 70% mana recovered from casting a Meteor, and this will be a 215-ish mana cost Meteor. So you're going to get a huge amount, like 160 or something like that, mana back every time you cast Meteor, and you can make it free with Mana Tunnel and Teleport. So the rotation is you're running through the map, you drop Teleport, drop Meteor, and then there you go. You have a huge amount of mana back really quickly, something like 40 or 50 mana per second. And then if you have any more problems, you can run the out of mana focus tech. I don't actually think this is good though, because we do get some ward based on your current mana. So this might not be the best play here. I'm still trying to figure that out, but feel free to experiment with this. And then the Frostclaw tree, this is pretty straightforward. The ward gain on cast is probably somewhat important here because we lost a lot of our ward, but we do get some extra stuff from Sorc. But otherwise, you do path down to Volley of Glass. You only grab 1 point here. We still grab the Nova. And then we do need the Lightning for the extra point from Enigma. And then you grab all the extra casts here, and we're sitting at like 40-something mana. So this setup is pretty easy to achieve. This is a level 21 Frostclaw, so all you need is Enigma. You don't even need Twisted Heart for this to work. And then you're basically good to go. For Meteor, most of these I left points unspec'd because it doesn't really matter. I want you guys to see that it is fine without having plus levels to all your stuff. For Ellie Nova, I just grabbed it for fun. It's probably not necessary. But if you're running Dragorath Claw, make sure you have enough points in here so that it's still free. Grab all the AoE nodes and all that stuff. And yeah, that's basically how that works. And yeah, here's hoping that this is going to be one of the better builds in Cycle 1.1. Assuming it works the way I think it will, it should be very, very strong, and we're going to do a crazy amount of damage. So looking forward to that. Definitely, if you want to follow along, as I said, do this for your leveling build, and then transition. You don't want to start with this because you will not be doing any damage until you can do spark charges, unless you're comfortable with leveling as Frostclaw. Yeah, I will be streaming for pretty much the whole week, week 1 of the launch. So if you want to follow along as I work on this build, definitely check out my Twitch. It will be in the description of the video. And otherwise, I hope to catch you guys in the next one. Cheers.